morning. How are you? And today we are going to discuss about foundations, everything about foundations. Okay, so keep watching. Say foundations. There are. Let us see what are the questions which are there in the mind. So, what is foundation? The first question. So, foundation is something which transfers the load, the building, to the ground, to the earth. That load transfer process needs to be understood properly. If you see any building, the load of the building are divided into various categories. First is dead load, then live load, wind load. These three are the main loads. Plus, we have got snow load, but not in India. If it is a European country, then we need to consider the snow load. Then there could be seismic load or earthquake related loads. So primarily you have to remember three things: dead load, live load, wind load. So function of foundation is to transfer all this combination or the worst combination of loads to the ground, to the earth below. So therefore the main characteristics of the foundation is that it should be able to transfer the loads without settling, without settlement. So what is settlement? Settlement is sinking, going below, settling, settling in the earth. Okay. Now remember one thing, that howsoever strong you design the foundation, it is going to settle by some amount. And the real skill of the designer is to keep this settlement within permissible limits. That is called permissible settlement. And then designer also has to see that differential settlement should not happen. This is a key word. What is a differential settlement? That you understand like this, that suppose you are sitting on a chair, the chair has got 4 legs. So if only one of the legs gets sunk in the floor, what will happen? You are going to tilt. That is called differential settlement. So any building which settles uniformly downwards is okay to certain extent, but if it settles in a differential manner, that means one side of the building settles by 50 mm, the other side settles by 150 mm. So what will happen? There will be a different kind of stress on the building. Okay. So what we are talking about the foundations. The main function of a foundation is to transfer the loads, all the loads coming on the structure to the earth, to the strata, to the foundation level. That is first thing. What is the foundation level? The second thing. And how to decide the foundation level? That is the second question. So foundation level is the strata or the layer of the soil below the ground level where this entire load is transferred. How much should be the minimum foundation level? That is the third question. So the minimum foundation level as defined by the code is 900 mm, 3 feet. Remember, 3 feet. So no building foundation should be shallower than 3 feet. Okay. So there could be an extreme case that if on the surface rock is there. This is a typical condition which could be asked in interview. What will you do if there is a rock right from the ground level? Will you excavate or will you not excavate? So the answer is we shall have to go minimum 3 feet into the rock, minimum, so that the building has a grip inside the earth. So we have answered 3 questions. First, what is a foundation? Secondly, what is a foundation level? What is a differential settlement? What are the different types of loads? We spoke about dead load. Dead load is basically the self weight of the concrete, of the masonry, of the plaster, of the false ceiling. So anything which is permanent in the building is called dead load. It could be RCC slab, it could be RCC beams, it could be brick walls, it could be plaster, windows, everything which is there permanently. Second type of load is live load. Live load is also called as superimposed load. Superimposed means something which is loaded on the building. It could be users, it could be furniture, it could be appliances, equipments which are wardrobes, beds, etc., which are kept, which are brought later on after the construction of the building. That is called superimposed load. So there are categories of loads. Like if you take a grade 200 live load, what does it mean? It means a live load where 200 kg of live load will be there on each square meter. Okay. Third type of load is wind load. What is wind load? Wind load, you know that if you go to the top of a 50-story building, then on the terrace you can feel the wind on your face. So that type of wind pressure is gets applied on the complete face of the building, which therefore exerts an horizontal force on the building, and which in turn creates a bending moment, a rotation on the foundation. So that has to be registered. Okay. Now we come to the design of the foundation. So in principle, foundations are of 2 types. One is called open foundation, spread foundation. Second is pile foundation. So if you go to any site, if you see pits of the area being excavated, entire area being excavated, mass excavated, or pits are there, then you will know that there is a open foundation in that building. If you see a piling equipment, there will be a tripod, or there could be a drilling rig on that site. So what is a pile? Pile is a cylindrical hole made in the ground, and in that we put reinforcement cage, then we cast the concrete, becomes piles. Piles, RCC piles, are basically divided into 2 types. One is manually bored piles. These are also called as under-rimmed or hand-augered piles. And second type is called mechanical piles. These mechanical piles can be further subdivided into 2 categories. One is called hammer pile. Hammer. There is a hammer which makes the hole in the earth, and second could be a drilling rig, which by means of a rotary cutter, it cuts a hole into the ground. Okay. So what we talked so far: foundations, 2 types. One is open foundation, one is piles. Piles are again divided into manually done piles or mechanical piles. In mechanical piles, we have seen 2 types. One is hammered piles, second is bored piles. Now, what is the composition of a pile? Design wise, the piles can be divided into two groups. One is called end bearing piles, and second could be called as skin friction piles, end bearing piles and skin friction piles. Okay, what is end bearing pile? The piles which go to the top of the rock and transfers the load to the hard rock layer, that is called a end bearing pile. But if the hard rock is at a much lower depth, maybe at 40 meters, 50 meters, 60 meters, then it is very uneconomical to over the pile up to 60 meters. Then what we do, we have something called a skin friction pile, which transfers the load not by bearing but by friction between the soil and the concrete surface. Okay, you're getting the point. It is just like driving a nail in the wood. When you drive the nail in the wood, there is a friction around the steel surface, and by virtue of that, it cannot be simply pulled out. So similarly, when you have a concrete skin friction pile, the skin friction around the concrete, the skin friction between the concrete surface and the soil creates a strong friction, so that all the load which is coming on the pile is counterbalanced. Okay. Now, what is the exact procedure of doing a pile? So, suppose it is a hammer pile, then what we do? We first keep the cage, the reinforcement cage of the pile ready. That cage is kept on the side. This cage is basically main reinforcement of the pile. Like in column, we have got main reinforcement. Could be see any pile should have minimum 6 bars minimum. Like any column, you should have minimum 4 bars. Similarly, remember, any pile should have minimum 6 bars. 6 bars of 12 dia is the minimum recommended specification for rebars of piles. And then the rings of the pile. Rings are of two types. It could be simple circular rings, or it could be helical rings, helical stirrups, continuously wrapped spiral shaped helical rings. Okay, so that depends on the design. Now imagine we have got a 500 dia hammered pile going up to a depth of say 10 meters. Now what is this 10 meters? Remember, suppose it is an end bearing pile. So from ground level up to the hard rock top, it is 10 meters. If it is a 500 dia pile, then what we do, we don't simply rest the pile on the top of the rock. We cut the rock further for 500 Okay, so what happens?
Hello.
We have a pile of total cylindrical length 10.5 meters. Okay, this 500 actually goes into the rock, and this is called socket length. So what is socket? Socket is basically the grip provided by the rock to the pile. This is embedded into the rock. So this embedding length is 500 In a 500 dia hammered pile, which has been embedded into the rock for 500 So we need to prepare reinforcement cage. In another video, we will learn how to calculate the cutting length of the main bars of the rings. Before we go further, you have to remember that in case of piles, the cover for the reinforcement is kept 75 mm. Why 75 mm? You will see for the footing the cover is 50 mm. Then why for piles it is 75 mm? Because it is in continuous touch with the ground as well as with moisture. So therefore the cover is kept as 75 mm. Always remember this. So then what happens? You first hammer, you first do the boring by hammering, then you have the reinforcement cage ready, you put it inside, put it centrally so that equal cover is maintained from all sides, and then you do the casting for the entire length of the pipe till the top. Now what happens usually that when you do the concreting, the mud which has been accumulated at the bottom of the concrete starts coming along with the concrete upwards. So the topmost almost 2 feet to 3 feet of concrete becomes a muddy concrete. So it is a custom to break that concrete. So whenever you want to start further construction, what you do, you cut this topmost portion of the concrete, maybe 600 mm, 750 mm, okay, that you cut by means of breakers. Next day you apply breakers, you cut the concrete, expose the reinforcement, then you put laps for columns or pile caps, and then you go further. Okay, so top of the pile is called pile cap. What is a pile cap? Pile cap helps in proper distribution of the column load to the pile. There could be a cluster of piles. What is a cluster of pile? Cluster is basically a group of pile. So suppose it is a cluster of 4 piles. So then what we have a big cap, so that at the center the column will be there. So the load of the column is first taken by the pile cap, and from the pile cap it is equally distributed on all 4 piles. Okay, so let us take a brief review of what we have discussed. So let us see what we have discussed. First we talked about what is foundation, what are the types of loads, then what are the types of foundations, open foundation, pile foundation. Then in open foundation, wherever you see a pit, that is a open foundation. Then we talked about foundation level, we talked about differential settlement. The another word will be uniform settlement or homogeneous settlement. So one is uniform settlement, one is differential settlement. We have to avoid the differential settlement. Then we said the other type is called piling. Piles are of 2 types: manually done piles, augered piles, under-rimmed piles is one of that. Then other category is end-bearing piles, or it could be hammered or driven piles are basically the type by which we prepare the hole in the ground. But the design criteria is either it could be end-bearing pile or skin friction pile. Then we saw what is called as socket length. Socket length is the length by which a pile is embedded into the concrete. Okay. Then we talked about pile cap. We talked about cluster of piles. Okay, I think this is a initial discussion on foundations, very initial discussion, and based on this, now we can go ahead and develop further concepts. Okay, thank you so much. And I think you know my name already, no? I'm Santosh Kulkarni. And if you like this video, then please subscribe for the channel. And if you enjoyed this video, then press the like button, share it with your colleagues, with your friends. They will also enjoy it. Okay. Thank you so much. Bye bye. Again, we will meet in the next session. Take care. See you.